Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Food School Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast on a mission to inspire a world where food makes us better. My name is Shurina. I'm a certified nutritionist, health, weight loss, fitness, and a coach who helps people to change their eating habits to feel, look, and do your absolute best. Guys, today we are talking about salt. So I got a couple of questions on social media. One was actually on Quora, where people ask a lot of questions about a lot of things. And one was on Facebook from a local girl who just moved to Mexico. Let me start with the first one. So the guy on Quora was asking, he was describing the situation. Yesterday, I ate a lot of salty sauerkraut, and today I woke up feeling so much more energetic. Are these low sodium diets overrated? Might low sodium diets be actually bad for you? So that was the question. And guys, salt is not bad for us. In fact, if we don't consume enough sodium, we can die. We will die if we don't consume enough sodium. Sodium, guys, it is important for hydration. Like you can drink ton and ton of water, but if you don't consume enough sodium, then for the body will not be able to maintain a certain blood volume level. So we need salt in our blood, obviously, to transport all the nutrients, oxygen, a lot of things. We also need water in our cells. For that, potassium is in charge. But to maintain a certain blood volume with liquids, and, we need water for that, but also we need sodium for that to keep it there instead of just passing through our digestive system and evaporating through our skin. So in order for water to stay in our body, we need to have sodium. And usually the harder it is, the more water you drink, the more you sweat, the more active you are, the more water and the more salt you'll need. That's why athletes use salt tablets that are not actually just salt. They usually would have potassium, sodium, and chloride at least. Sometimes they also would have magnesium and calcium, other electrolytes. But yeah, that's why athletes use them, because they work. You can even experience things like headaches and be really, really low on energy and cranky because you don't consume enough salt. And to be fair, in our modern world, in our modern food system, where a lot of people eat a lot of processed foods and eat a lot of takeout meals, restaurant meals, a lot of products and snacks, most of them do contain quite a lot of sodium. So most people, because most people are not eating balanced diet, sadly, probably consume more than enough sodium. But then what happens? People start transitioning to a healthier way of eating. You might be one of those people who either maybe you are transitioning, or maybe you already transitioned because you listened to this podcast for so long. And now you are eating a very clean diet, meaning you choose whole foods, you cook your food, you don't eat out that much, you don't eat many products all that much. And now, guys, you are in charge of adding sodium into your diet, because now no company puts it into your meals or snack that you previously ate. And so now, again, you need to take care of eating enough sodium. And to give you an idea how I do it, for example, right now, I'm in Mexico. I'm in Playa del Carmen. It's freaking hot here. Every time I go outside, I sweat a lot. Every time I work out, I sweat a lot. I probably never sweat, well, maybe when I was in Thailand. But yeah, it feels like I never sweat that much in my entire life. And then now I drink more water, obviously, but also I need to make sure that I consume more sodium. And so with every glass of water, I consume a pinch of salt. I salt my meals really well. To the point that it might be a little bit too salty, but it feels good in my body. I feel energized and there is no water retention and I don't feel as thirsty. And I sleep well, I have energy. So it tells me then that I'm probably consuming enough sodium for my lifestyle, my activity levels, and for the climate where I am. If you are a person who doesn't sweat a lot, maybe you are not as active, you are not in a hot climate, you might need a little bit less sodium. Again, how do you figure out how much sodium you need? A good place to start for people who eat a clean diet is consuming no less than 1 teaspoon of salt. Especially I recommend iodized salt, since iodine is one of the crucial essential minerals, and it's hard to eat from a lot of foods unless you consume seaweed and a lot of seafood or a lot of dairy products also. But yeah, sea salt or iodized sea salt, 1 teaspoon, stretch over the course of the day at least. I think everyone should be consuming, unless you have a super high blood pressure or you, again, are consuming a lot of salty foods, so maybe sauerkraut, kimchi, maybe some salty nuts. So that means you might need to add less. But let's get back to salt. It's not bad. It's essential. Guys, if you stop consuming salt today, you're going to feel really shitty really fast. You're going to be dehydrated even though you drink a lot of water. Salt is necessary for every time our neurons, our brain communicate. Our neurons, our nerve cells, they're trying to relay messages for us to do things. Every time we do something, our neurons need to communicate. Every time we need to contract muscles, we need sodium. And by the way, our stomach is also a muscle, so sodium affects our digestion in that way, because we need sodium every time we contract a muscle, our stomach including. But then also sodium is important to create stomach acid to digest our foods. One of the major tools our body uses to break down foods we eat into different components, to use all the nutrients for our amazing life, right? So sodium is important for digestion. Sodium is important for creation of energy, for the process of creating cellular energy. Sodium is important to maintain normal blood sugar, normal blood pressure. And if you don't get enough sodium, all of these processes are going to be compromised. So low on energy, headaches, your digestion doesn't work that well, you find it very difficult to work out, your blood sugar, blood pressure might be all over the place. And yes, all of that just because you don't consume enough sodium. And again, to be fair, in our modern food world, a lot of people consume enough and too much because of too much processed foods and takeout meals, etc. But as a listener of this podcast, that's probably not the case for you. So you might actually need to look into adding sodium. And if you add some more salt to your water, to your meals, by the way, I usually buy rock salt, bigger pieces of salt, because it's easy to swallow with my water. So instead of drinking salty water that I don't really enjoy that much, so I just put some rock sea salt in my hand and I swallow it, and then I drink water, and it's easy for me that way to consume it. So again, I don't have to drink salty water. And so if you add salt to your water and to your diet and you feel better, it means then you probably need that extra salt in your diet. If you add sodium and you feel kind of worse, heavy, and also you start retaining more water, then maybe that is too much for your body at the moment. There might be, differences, of course, for everybody, but that's the gist of it. Sodium is not bad. Low sodium diets are not great. For most people who eat pretty good diet, low sodium is a bad idea. If you eat a lot of processed foods, maybe, you need to look into lowering your salt intake, especially if you are on a high blood pressure side. For others, sodium is essential, it's important, and you probably need to add more. And now let's get to the second question that I was asked on Facebook. A girl just moved to Mexico, and she's like, I used to drink a couple of liters of water and I was fine. Here, I drink like 5 liters of water and I still feel thirsty. I still feel like I'm dehydrated. And the reason was for her is she didn't add any salt. And so, yeah, basically she would drink and would pee it out, sweat it out, but nothing stayed in her system. And so what I advised her is to add sodium, like a pinch of salt for every half a liter of water she drinks, and also salt her meals really well because she is into a healthy lifestyle and cooks her food, and also drink more natural local mineral water, Topo Chico. It's amazing local mineral water that I dreamt about drinking when I was outside Mexico. So Topo Chico, I advised her to drink natural mineral water for more electrolytes that help us to function, stay healthy, and stay hydrated. And now she is feeling all better. So sodium, it's not bad for you. It is essential. But guys, like with anything else in life, there gotta be balance. Even if you drink too much water too fast, you can die. Like literally people died of drinking too much water too fast. So there is no such thing as good in any amounts for you. There always gotta be a balance. And it just happens to be when we eat a diet of whole foods, variety, with adding enough salt and not overdoing it on products and processed foods and meals out that usually contain more of everything. It happens that in that way, it's so much easier to maintain balance, listening to our natural body's cues. And when we start adding a lot of processed stuff and a lot of unnecessary, drinks and supplements and meal replacements and all kinds of stuff, that's when it gets really tricky and you really need to know what you do. That being said, guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Share this episode with another person who might be obsessed with low sodium diet for no good reason. So share this episode with them. If anyone tells you need to be on a low sodium diet, also share this episode with them. Help them to see where they might be thinking wrong, and where they might need to do some research. So share, learn, add some sodium if you are, into eating a very good balanced diet. So add sodium, and if you feel better, then it means you needed it. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. And till next time, as usual, guys, eat better daily.